Hello again, MMA True Believers. This is Jason BURGOS for Sherdog.com, and today I am joined by one of the elite talents of the Bellator lightweight division. He's a former champion who scored a nasty neck crank submission in February at Bellator 240. He will now take those grappling skills into Submission Underground 14 on May 31st. Well, he will face a fantastic grappler in his own right in former Strikeforce champion Jake Shields, and that man is Brent Primus. Brent, what is up? And I'm glad to get to talk to you again, my man.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on. It's always good talking to you.
So the fascinating thing about this matchup coming up at Submission Underground is that Jake was not your original opponent. It was supposed to be UFC welterweight Michael Chiesa. Talk to me about why the switch happened, and when Jake's name was offered, what were your first thoughts about that?
Yeah, man, it would have been cool to go against Chiesa. I was looking forward to that match. I think it would have been a cool, exciting matchup. I'm not sure what happened. I'm assuming he either got injured or he has a fight lined up. One of the two. It's the only thing I can really think of.
Okay.
But yeah, so he backed out, and then I got the call saying, you're going against Jake Shields. I talked to your coach, and he said you're good to go. And so I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. And then Fabiano, I came to class the next day, and Fabiano was like, yeah, I talked to Heather, and she asked me if you want to go against Jake Shields, and I said, yes, you'll go against him. So I was like, all right, cool. And, when I first thought about going against him, I was like, man, dang it. Here we go. It's going to be a tough match. But at the same time, I'm like, man, it's he's one of the best guys. I've watched him fight ever since I started, and, his grappling is awesome. So I think it's just going to be a lifetime opportunity for me, and then I've watched this guy on TV, and now I get to grapple him, so it's going to be awesome, man. I'm excited for sure.
Just because, Jake has not been in that UFC Bellator spotlight. I mean, he's been PFL, but he hasn't really fought that much in the last couple of years. People may assume, oh, Michael's probably the more, dangerous threat and stuff like that. He's been in the UFC, he's winning fights, just a basic, he's probably more deadly. But I feel like in MMA, where punches and elbows can be thrown, yeah, Michael may be more dangerous and on the mat. But for me, in pure grappling, where Jake can use that vaunted American Jiu-Jitsu, his very strong wrestling, I feel like he's the tougher test. Am I wrong in that assessment, or is there some truth to that?
No, I feel like that's 100%. I feel like Jake is definitely a more technical grappler. He's Jake's definitely better. I feel nothing against Chiesa.
Yeah.
He's a tough dude for sure, but I just think technically wise, and Jake Shields is definitely a top competitor for sure, man. He's going to be a tough match, and I'm excited for the test for sure.
Is there any disappointment, though, that, you did miss out on this kind of UFC Bellator, versus thing that rarely happens, even if it is just grappling? Is there some disappointment, that would have been pretty cool?
Oh, 100%. I was really bummed out. I wanted to go against him so bad, and hopefully someday we will go against each other again. I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully it wasn't the UFC doesn't want any of their guys going against any Bellator guys. Hopefully that's not the situation, But I was definitely bummed out, man. I think it'd have been cool to go against him, and man, now I'm going against Jake Shields. So he's kind of like a old school legend in the grappling world. So I'm definitely honored to go against him, man. It's going to be freaking awesome.
And I'm glad you brought up exactly that, old school legend, and I want to talk about influence and stuff like that, because I always loved that branding of American Jiu-Jitsu, and I really feel like you see it all over the place now, where you blend that wrestling with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, making it kind of a cohesive thing. And a guy like Damian Maia is a legend in his first BJJ, but he really put hard work into making his wrestling that much better, bringing that more of American style, and that's what got him a welterweight title shot. His takedowns got so much better. Do you feel that kind of style really has had an influence on the sport, or are you more of a purist because you came from a straight up BJJ background, right?
No, I think they're both awesome. I train with a bunch of D1 awesome, really good wrestlers, and then I feel like they have a heads up, a little bit of a head start on a lot of people. They have that crazy balance and base and kind of the understanding of the body, and so I think that guys that wrestle at a high level, and once they start training jiu-jitsu, especially gi jiu-jitsu, and start getting that technique down, I think it's a tough combination, man. It's a tough combination to beat, that's for sure. And I'm even training like Austin Vanderford here. He's a top-notch wrestler.
Yeah.
And he's learning the jiu-jitsu and getting more technical every day, every week, I feel, and he's playing from his back. He's playing his guard. And I feel like, those high-level wrestlers, man, once they have a good Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor and they can mix the American wrestling with jiu-jitsu, it's a tough combination for sure.
What goes into like the preparation for something like this? Because I've talked to a couple of people that were going into grappling matches. I talked to like Mark Chiesa, who's more of a striker. He was doing grappling for fun, and I talked to Gary Tunnen, who was a fantastic grappler. He was preparing. He was going to go against Dustin Poirier, but the fight didn't happen. And he talked about his basic preparation, which is going on YouTube, looking at certain things, trying to get an idea. What is your preparation? Because you are also another high level grappler. Do you do scouting? Do you do strategy? Are you watching videos? Are you talking with your coach, watching Jake's specific thing? Maybe there is tape of him purely grappling and grappling tournaments, or are you doing things just to make sure your skills are on point, as sharp as can be, and that's how you prepare for a grappling tournament matchup?
I think a little bit of all of that. I'm not really looking on YouTube too much. I have my professor Fabiano, at American Top Team, and he's been helping me out a lot, and he's an awesome coach, and I think he's been really helping me get ready. But just the whole SUG platform, how it's set up, I'm just not really used to that. I'm not used to, the 1 5-minute round and then the EBI rules. I'm not used to that. Yeah. Where I'm just used to trying to submit the guy and trying to choke him and get the fight over. But with the EBI rules, it's different. A lot of people are just trying to hold on and win on time, and it's hard. Right now, I'm like 50-50. Do I want to, go for the kill and try to get the submission like I always do, or do I want to play smart and ride the time and try to win like that? So it's I'm kind of battling that in my head right now. But it's definitely a little bit different than what I'm used to. But it's cool, man. It's cool to do these type of boxes.
Is it more enjoyable just to train for this? Because MMA training is so grueling in general, but I'm sure a large part of what makes it grueling is the grappling. But you have all these other things you can focus. Is training just for a straight up grappling match, is it more fun in a way than training for MMA in your opinion, or not really?
I'm not going to say it's more fun. I think training for MMA and sparring and doing all that stuff, it's like adrenaline, man. It's crazy. It's sometimes, we're in here fighting, going at each other, trying to knock each other out, and so I think it's hard to say that it's funner than that, because it is awesome having punches flying by your head, you're kicking your butt in your head, and like, but jiu-jitsu is my roots. I started doing jiu-jitsu back in the day, and I used to drill for hours and hours every single day, and had the gi on all day long, and so I like doing jiu-jitsu, and this is just a little different because we're doing EBI rules. We're starting in arm bars, we're starting on the back, and we're just doing drilling, lots of rounds of those, and so I definitely feel like in MMA, my back defense and my back attack and my arm bars are going to be a lot better from this EBI rules and stuff like that.
What are your thoughts on the UFC putting on events right now? As a guy that would like to, and we've talked about it before, trying to be, active and getting more fights and stuff like that, and that's always an issue sometimes with Bellator. Is there like a smidge of jealousy that, your contemporaries in the UFC are getting to compete, getting to make money, or are you fully behind what Bellator's decision is dealing with this pandemic and glad they are waiting to June and July and you don't have to make that tough decision of fighting or not?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with it. I just feel like as long as the doctors and the science or whatever, and they say it's okay and not that many people are getting sick, then yeah, I say we throw fights. It just sucks because I want my grandpa to go to my fights, and I want the crowd there. Obviously, I think, I thrive off the crowd and the energy, and for me, my grandpa's like, who I respect the most, I feel, and he's kind of like, he's the man to me. He's like my dad, and I want him to beat my fights, but at the same time, he's old, and he also has like pre-existing health issues that he cannot get the corona, If he got it, then it'd be really, really bad, So I just think about my grandpa and in the whole situation, and I would not want my grandpa to be in any situation where he could get the corona or anything like that. So I just think about my grandpa, but at the same time, and heck yeah, I want to fight, I want to make money and stuff like that. So if they want to have it where there's no crowd and they want to throw it like that, then I guess it kind of sucks. I really want there to be a crowd. I think it'd just be so weird fighting in silence, but at the same time, it might be just like training and everything, you know. But I don't know. So at the same time, like, I think it's good that they're doing this, you know. I do, but at the same time, I want to fight soon. So hopefully, this whole virus thing, you know, goes through and it just passes through, whatever, and we can all get back to our normal lives and start fighting again. But so yeah, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence, but at the same time, like, I definitely do not want my grandpa at the event right now. That's for sure. So.
And it's interesting that you mentioned your grandfather. Has this been a scary time and a lot of worrying about him, a lot of not seeing him, just maybe talking to him on the phone kind of thing? And also, have you had any friends or other family, that are maybe touched by this thing or know somebody that's got it? There's been, I talked to a couple fighters that maybe relatives, friends that have passed away. Have you not had anything like that? You and your friends and family have been pretty lucky.
Yeah, well, with my grandpa, like, I stayed away from my grandpa and grandma for like 6 weeks. And I used to go over there and see them every other day or something like that, And then when I did go over there, I had a mask on and I had gloves on when I went over there. And they were staying at their house for like a while and everything. But do I know anybody that's had it? Not that I can think of, but this is kind of crazy. Like, I fought in Ireland last time in February or whatever, and we flew home. We stayed there for a week, me, my mom, and my wife and the kids and my brother and one of my buddies. And we stayed there for a week and we flew home. And the day that we flew home, my mom was really, really sick, like really sick. And she's like, what the heck? So she went to the hospital, or she went to the doctor, and the doctors told her, where were you at? She's like, I just got back from Ireland. I was at 3 major airports on the way home. They're like, okay, you have corona. Just go home and don't just isolate yourself but they didn't test my mom. They just said the likely you have probably corona, just go home and just isolate yourself. And so when we got back from Ireland, I didn't see my mom for a month or over. She wasn't around my kids and anything like that, and my mom was isolated for a month, and she was sick for like 2 weeks. And I call my mom. She's like, it's just so crazy that they told me they'd have corona and told me to go home, and no doctors called her and checked up on her. Nobody did like that. Like, it was just a crazy situation. It's kind of scary, but like right when we came home and flew back from Ireland got shut down from the virus or whatever. So we like literally were there and out like just in time. So it was crazy.
It seemed like there's a strong possibility Michael Chandler could, check in about free agency and maybe not be in Bellator after he fulfills his last fight on his deal. On a competitive level, would you be disappointed if he left and you didn't get to have that rubber match? Or because of the issues you guys have had, the dislike, it's like, good riddance, bye-bye, Michael. Glad to see you go.
No, I definitely want that fight. I 100% want our third fight, even though I hate him and I'm not gonna say hate. I just don't like the guy, as much as I don't like the guy, but I definitely want that fight. I want one more fight. Just please, Bellator, give me one more fight with that guy. And if he leaves, you never know. I might follow him someday and try to get him. So we'll see.
Speaking of one more fight, when you do, return to the cage, it really is time that you deserve to get a big fight. You need to be in a much bigger fight than what you've been given lately, as a former champion and stuff like that. Now, Patricky Pitbull, Ben Henderson, Michael Chandler, like we said, they've got their dance card pretty much set coming up. So I'm going to give you 3 names in the division I feel would make a lot of sense for you coming up. Those being Adam Piccolotti, Miles Jury, Goichi Yamauchi. Now, Adam and Goichi, I preferably would love, because the grappling would be fucking ridiculous. It would be insane. But do you have any preference in any of those guys? Are you interested? Would you be interested in facing any of those 3? And also, Adam and Goichi have told me at different times when I've talked to them the last couple of years, they are the best grapplers in the lightweight division.
Well, I think that Adam and Yamaguchi, they fought, and Yamaguchi choked out Adam, so that one's solved right there. Adam, you're in 3rd place. So right now it's about me and Yamaguchi, but I will tell you that I signed a contract to fight one of those 3 guys a couple months ago, so I'm going to fight one of those 3 guys that you named, and it should happen in mid-July if everything goes right, but it's also just crazy. Do you think that the Bellator is going to have fights in July with I know California's got shut down until August, and and I know New York they're not looking that good. So what do you think? Do you think that they'll have?
Well, I mean, they
in July?
said that the recent thing that Coker said was that they might do that Viacom studio in Hollywood. So I saw July 4th, LA is supposed to kind of reopen, and LA has been more restrictive and stuff like that. So I don't know where the Viacom studio is. So it's possible if that Viacom studio idea is true. July, did they say when in July? Is it later in the month? Yeah.
Well, when I'm fighting? Yeah, it's like mid-July, around there, a little bit later.
It's possible.
In July,
it definitely is possible. I mean, and they've had months to prepare, and I've talked to other companies people at LFA, people at Combate, and they're close to maybe making announcements on stuff coming out soon. So, and I know some other organizations in Asia are coming out. So, yeah, I mean, it might be more very, very possible. So, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. So that's the plan. So I'm I'm also doing a lot of MMA, not just doing the SUG training. I'm also training MMA right now too, getting ready or trying to stay ready at least. So if I get the call, yeah, man, I'm gonna have a good tough fight after the SUG.
All right, now we're cool. You're a friend. Take one of the three names out. Give me just two possible names.
So who do we say? We said Adam Yamaguchi
and Miles Jury. Is it not Miles Jury?
No. It's not Miles Jury.
Oh yes, so it's the fight. One of the fights I want to see. Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, now last question. The last time we talked about your interest in CBDs, growing marijuana, stuff like that. The sticky icky, as they say. Would you say the sticky icky is one's best friend during a pandemic? And also, how restrictive is Submission Underground, testing for that? Are they kind of okay with that? Come in as high as you want, as long as you can grapple.
Man, I hope you're okay with it, because I'm gonna go into that damn thing high as hell. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, man, it's definitely been my best friend through the quarantine thing, but it's been my best friend since I was in probably 8th grade. So, I'm definitely a friend of 420 friendly by far, and yeah, man, I was actually gonna see if Jake wanted to have a little smoke down competition before we actually went and grappled or something like that. I know the Diaz brothers are all about it, so I'm definitely going to bring some grade A bomb with me, and we'll see if he wants to partake. But if not, dude, trust me, I will be listed out there grappling.